I am Edgar Allan Poe, and I am famous for being a very dark writer. My most popular books are Telltale Heart, The Raven, The Black Cat, The Cask of Amontillado, The Mask of Red Dead, and I was born in Boston, United States, in 1809, Baltimore, and died in 1849. I was a storyteller, poetic, critic, and one of the best storytellers of all time. My life is mostly sad because my parents died when I was very young, only with 2 years old, and a businessman called John Allan take care of me, but our relationship wasn't the best. I attended to a university in Virginia, but my addiction to literature made me quit and create my first book called Tamerlane and other poems. Also, Allan, my stepfather, stopped giving me money because I used all the money in parties and buying alcohol. And another tragic thing that happened is that my girlfriend left me and go with other men. I spent 2 years in the army, but they expelled me because of rebellion. Until 1829, I published the second book called Al-Saf. I married my very young cousin, Virginia Clem, who was only 14 years old in that time. My stories reached New York in that year, and I became very popular because of my short and dark stories. These stories were mostly of detective, horror, gothic, and mysteries. My wife got a very serious illness which killed her in 1847, and due to this I fell into a great depression, and alcoholism and drugs. The cause of my death is very uncertain because doctors find me dead on an alley, but they say it was because of overdoses of drugs and alcohol. My physical characteristics: I am sort of skinny, black hair, not too muscular. People say I have sweet eyes, but I see them black. And also some people think I have a big forehead, but for me it's normal. Emotionally, I am mostly depressed and lonely. I suffer from many anxiety problems, hopeless, and a very strong sadness. This is very tiring because I cannot be happy, and my heart, there's something can't be filled. Some good qualities that I have is that I'm very creative and also educated. Doctors say that I suffer a bipolar disorder that increases with alcohol, and also that I have trust problems and I see everything dark and evil. I consider myself an independent and ambitious person, and also very introverted person. Historical context: the time where I lived was the first half of 19th century, where America had a democracy and many political changes, struggles and tensions. Also a time with many wars, for example, the prominent war, the Anglo-American War, the Algerian War, the Seminole War, and the Black Hawk War. I wanted to study law or business, but I was counting on working on my family business. My biggest dream was to become a writer, and I wrote my first verses very young, and nothing and no one could make me quit this. The North American Renaissance, where the most recognized figures were Hawthorne, Poe, Whitman, and Manville. In addition, I was in the military army, like my grandfather, and that was very strong because I see things that no man should see. The literature during that period was focused more on romanticism and positivism. more precisely guiding the man to peace and happiness. I arrived and brought us back to reality with my dark books, and some people consider me like the creator of dark romanticism. I lived in a place where the economic position was prosperous. At the time, it was called Golden Age because America was emerging as a rich land, and there were also fabulously rich people. The first billionaires had been created, and the social classes were very marked since it affected people without wealth and few properties. In the mid 1830s, the country entered many conflicts that damaged it, but not in a very large scale. Political context. During that time, the victories of many wars, there was a boom in North American nationalism. Everything centered around the wars. In the country, the heroes and patriotic sentiments became very popular. The systems of election collapsed, and the president named Andrew Jackson remained. Democracy became favored because instead of voting in stadiums, um, places were assigned to vote with printed ballots. Everything was changed politically because it was a time of process and American growth. Social context. The United States during that time had a great population growth due to rapid urbanization. There were social classes of the bourgeois, the proletariat, and the peasantry. It was also a period of very much war, essentially internal, and also there was very lot of slavery. Also, there was a boom in the horror stories that black people told. In 1776, the 13 colonies proclaimed independence. Due to independence, the direction of the country was not clearly known, which is why it was a long process of failure and progress. The teachings I live. The teaching I live is to face the cruel reality. I see everything dark, tragic, and terrifying. I discard fantasy and good things in life. Mostly I teach us to be realistic and see the world as it who really is and not an imaginary one. Also, I leave good teachings in my books and good tips in life. Um, each one reps what he sows, the black cat. Also, I make them aware of the feeling of guilt and disasters is best to be avoided. The telltale heart. And be considerate with people, if selfishness behind the mask of red death. Also, in the telltale heart, to not become tired of doing the right thing. Think twice so do you not drown in bad decisions. The telltale heart. Be persistent and tell everything that it has time. The hop frog and the bad feeling of regret and remorse. The telltale heart. How to use all these tips and teachings in our daily life and also in this situation we are living. And currently, due to the pandemic situation, the best advice I give is to deal with reality because many people tries to cover all the bad things that are happening, but we must face reality. And the world is stuck in a serious crisis where many people have died and are going to die. I talk many about death, which is why we have to see it like something normal, and also encourage us to spend more time with our loved people. Also, I consider it to leave selfishness because it can be used today by wearing a mask and preventing the virus from spreading more. Not everything is perfect, and sometimes there is no happy ending. And finally, these are the credits.